they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. I sadly mistaken, I need a piece of the pie. I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take a few to lose. Built to win, applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And today we will be talking about the weekday for Bowl Week Part 2. Now, there are no playoffs this weekend, so we won't have to worry about that this week. But we got Monday through Friday. We got bowl games, except for Thursday. And then I'll be back to talk about the Saturday games Saturday morning. So let's hop right into it. We got the bowl game today. We have Utah State versus Washington State today, 2 o'clock on ESPN in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. So I got differing odds last night. I made this last night. Washington State became the favorite in this matchup. Today, however, I got it at Utah State as the matchup on DraftKings. I'm going to check FanDuel, however, just to make sure that it's still the case. On FanDuel, we have, which is where I get most of my odds from. Utah State is now the favorite again. So let me change that real quick. I forgot to change that. But Utah State are currently the favorites yet again. They came into this matchup as the favorites. I want to say it shifted because the head coach of Washington State has now taken the Iowa State head coaching job. So shout out to the coach for that. I want to say his name is Jimmy Rogers. But for Washington State, got some opt-outs. Starting running back Kirby Voorhees, who led the team in rushing, he will not be playing in the bowl game for the Washington State Cougars. But starting quarterback Zevi Eccles will be. Now, Washington State got to contain Bryson Barnes' legs. He is a guy who can run the football. He leads Utah State in both passing and rushing, so he can definitely run the ball for the Utah State Aggies. So definitely have to do that. Establish the run. Force turnovers. Protect the football because Zevi Eccles has 9 interceptions. And you want to force third and longs against this Utah Aggies team. Why? Because they will be without receiver Braden Pagan, and they will be without tight end Brock Lane. Braden Pagan, I believe, opted out or is injured. And I know Brock Lane's hurt. He's out for the season with a knee injury. Now, if you're Utah State got to run Bryson Barnes. Like I said, it leaves them both passing and rushing. Give Barnes some easy rhythm throws because, again, you don't have Braden Pagan or Brock Lane, so you got to give some easy throws, get these other receivers involved. Braden Pagan's their leading receiver. Brock Lane, the tight end, security blanket. So you got to get more guys involved. Stop the run of Washington State. Force turnovers because, again, Eccles has 9 interceptions. And last but not least, you want to pressure Zevi Eccles just to, again, possibly force turnovers. But my win in this matchup, I'm going Utah State. I'm going with Utah State to win the game. Why? Because Bryson Barnes and Bronco Mendenhall are there, while, again, Washington State will be without their head coach. He's leaving to take the Iowa State job. Secondly, they are without their leading rusher, Washington State is. So I'm interested to see how Zevi Eccles and this Washington State Cougar offense moves without their starting running back and leading rusher. Also, Eccles, he does have a bit of a turnover problem. So it's just a very interesting. Washington State coming into this matchup is very interesting. I'm gonna trust Bronco Mendenhall, a coach who I really like and trust. So I'm trusting him to get the job done with this Utah State team and winning a bowl game with Bryson Barnes at the helm for the Utah State Aggies. So give me the Aggies in this matchup. We'll move on to the next bowl. We got the Boca Raton Bowl featuring Toledo versus Louisville. Now Louisville, no, excuse me. Yeah, Louisville comes into this matchup as 6.5 point favorites. Toledo, they will be without their starting quarterback due to injury, Tucker Gleason. Like I said, he's out due to injury. But for Toledo, you got to pressure Miller Moss, who is looking to play this bowl game Tuesday. He's looking to play, so you got to pressure him. You want to get the ball to Julian Vanderross, who is in line to play. Establish Chip Trainium, who's also in line to play. You want to stop the run if you're Toledo. Louisville is predicated on the run. They can be big plays. Now, whether Isaac Brown or Keywan Brown plays is still in the air. Now, Jeff Brom did say he at least hopes to have one of the two. He did not specify which two. But there's a possibility that both can play or neither can play. So either way, Toledo has to stop the run and get Caleb Osborne going on the ground with his legs. Again, he is starting for Tucker Gleason, who is doubtful to play. He is looking to be out for this matchup. So Caleb Osborne is a dual threat guy, so he brings a different dynamic to this offense with his legs. Now, if you're Louisville, you obviously want to protect Miller Moss, let him get back there and pick that Toledo defense apart. Get the ball to Colin Lacey. There will be no Chris Bell. Chris Bell's out with an injury. He's not playing. Contain Caleb Osborne's legs. Again, the dual threat guy for the Toledo Rockets. Also, Toledo will be without their head coach, Jason Candle. He left. Forgot which job he took, but he left to take a job. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. And dominate up front. For Louisville, you want to dominate up front and get the ball going on the ground. You got to be able to run the ball. So you got to establish the run, like I said, especially if you got Isaac Brown back. If Isaac Brown is back, for sure, establish the run. But my winner is Louisville. I trust that Louisville will get the job done. I think that they can dominate up front. I think they will slow down this Toledo's offense. And Toledo lately just they've found a way to lose some games. And I think Louisville, man, with Miller Moss being back, I think that offense will be very potent. Yeah, they have no Chris Bell, but they'll still have Colin Lacey. And especially if they get Isaac Brown, I do see Louisville being able to dominate on the ground. So give me Louisville to win this ball game. Next, we got the New Orleans Bowl. We got Western Kentucky coming into this as 2.5 point favorites against Southern Miss. Southern Miss absolutely melted at the end of the year. They will be without head coach Charles Huff, who's taking the Memphis job. But like I said, they melted. They had their division, a big lead in their division of the Sun Belt, and ended up losing it to Troy on the last game, losing to Troy. Wow, Western Kentucky, they were in the mix. They were in the mix for the Sun Belt, not the Sun Belt, excuse me, the Conference USA, and they ultimately did not get into the conference championship, but they were a top team in the Conference USA conference. So, Western Kentucky, first of all, Maverick McIver may be back. They saying there's a possibility that he will play tomorrow in the New Orleans Bowl. But if he doesn't play, they got to contain Rodney Tisdale's legs. But for Western Kentucky, get Matthew Henry and Katie Hutchinson the ball. Establish the run. Now, they said Lavelle Wright may not play, but if he does play, you want to establish Lavelle Wright. He is in the transfer portal, but he may play still. Protect the football, whoever is at quarterback, whether it's Maverick McIver or Rodney Tisdale. Contain Braylon Braxton's legs and get off the field on third downs. Again, Western Kentucky has a huge issue getting off the field on third downs. Now, if you're Southern Miss, get the ball to Elijah Metcalf. You want to use Braylon Braxton's legs, establish Jeffrey Pittman on the ground, contain either Rodney Tisdale or Maverick McIver. Now, I know Maverick McIver isn't really a runner. He doesn't like to run, but he can run. You still want to contain him because if you give him lanes, he will take them and run if there's nobody open. Now, he's a guy who wants to sit in the pocket and pass the ball, no question. But before he got hurt, he started to use his legs a little bit more and finally get off the field on third downs. But while both defenses are kind of suspect, I'm going to roll with Western Kentucky. I just trust Western Kentucky more. Plus, like I said, Southern Miss kind of melted towards the end of the year. They were ending the year on a bad note. Charles Huff is not going to be there. He's taking that Memphis job while Western Kentucky has Coach Helton still there. So I'm going to take the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers to win this game. But it could be very high scoring. I may look into an over in that matchup. Let's look at the over under real quick. Just want to see if I can find one real quickly for y'all. 58 and a half. That might be a play. As now Western Kentucky is down to -1.5, and Louisville is back up now up to 7.5. So odds are changing fast. But we move on to the Frisco Bowl. The Frisco Bowl tomorrow, the late night game. We have UNLV versus Ohio. 9 o'clock on ESPN tomorrow. Now, UNLV are still 6.5-point favorites in this matchup. Ohio's without their coach Brian Smith, who got fired for alleged having a relationship with a student on campus. So that is terrible news for him. That is very terrible, period. But for UNLV, man, Calandria, he said he's there to stay. He said I think, and I'm just not a direct quote, so don't directly quote me, but I think he said like he felt the heartbreak or the pain of the transfer portal he doesn't want to experience again. It was something along those lines. So he's staying at UNLV. Now, so UNLV, they got to stop the run. Stop the run with 3 exclamation points, which is something tough for UNLV. They have a tough time doing at times. That is what Ohio wants to do the most. They want to establish Sib and Garua. They want to run Parker Navarro. They have to stop the run. They got to Anthony Calandria. Nothing's open. You got to use his legs. Don't try to force anything. Hey, nothing there. Take off. You got legs. You can run. Establish Jaden Thomas, the running back, one of the best backs in the Mountain West Conference. Get the ball to Jalen Bradley, their top receiver, and get off the field on third downs. That defense got to get off the field on third downs. That has been an issue as well for UNLV. Now, for Ohio, you want to run to Parker Navarro. He's the backbone. He's the engine of this offense. He's really the engine. I would say Sid Bangaroo is the backbone, but he's the engine that makes this offense go. Speaking of Sengo Bangaroo, you got to establish him on the ground. Get the ball to Chase Hendricks and Rodney Harris. Contain Anthony Calandria's legs. And this Ohio defense got to force turnovers. Calandria is prone to some turnovers from time to time. I think he has, 8 interceptions on the year. So while Calandria's had a better season, took UNLV to the Mountain West Conference Championship, he's still prone for those interceptions. So if you're the Ohio defense, you got to force some turnovers. But ultimately, with Dan Mullen being there and Brian Smith not being there, I'm rolling with UNLV. Now, I will say this. Ohio's defense has been kind of leaky of lately. And what I mean by that is they haven't been the defense we saw earlier in the year, in my opinion. And I think UNLV can take advantage of that with the offense that they have. They have a really good offense. I think Calandria could kind of pick them apart a little bit, maybe take advantage of the ground game. But while I have UNLV winning, I would probably bet the Ohio plus 7.5. I'm not going to lie. Like, I would probably take it up to 7.5 and bet that, because UNLV defense, again, it is tough in stopping the run. Ohio loves to run the ball. So while I do think this offense is good enough to keep up with Ohio being able to run the ball, I do think that 7.5 is a lot of points in this matchup. I do think Ohio can keep it very close. Ohio has the potential to possibly win this game with how they play. But I think ultimately, without their head coach being there and with Calandria and that offense being explosive, I think it's a close game, but UNLV pulls it out. Next, we have the Hawaii Bowl, the only bowl for Wednesday. We have Cal. Might as well keep it at Hawaii or versus Hawaii. Now, this line has it at Hawaii as -1.5. Cal was the favorites at first. I think I've seen it as much as Cal -2.5, 3.5. But now Hawaii is the favorite. And y'all know me. This is a home game for Hawaii. But for Cal, they got to establish Kendrick Raphael. Oh, this game is 8 o'clock on ESPN Wednesday night, by the way. But you got to establish Kendrick Raphael, the running back for Cal. Get the ball to Jacob DeJesus and Tron Grizel. Protect Jerron Kiwe, Sagaputele. Get off the field on third downs. I do feel like that has become an issue for Cal defensive lately, and they will be without Cade Ulave, the stud linebacker that they have. And get off the, and pressure Micah Alejado, the phenomenal freshman quarterback for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Now for Hawaii, you want to get the ball to Profili Ashlock. I saw Jackson Harris was in the transfer portal. I don't know if he's playing or not. It doesn't really say. It just says he's in the portal. Um, I'm going to say right now that he's not playing. Um, so that's not, I'm gonna just say it right. I'm gonna say he's not playing, but it doesn't say whether he's playing or not. So we're just gonna leave it at Profili Ashlock. Um, you want to pressure Jerron Kill, Sakapatele, establish Landon Sims on the ground, force turnovers. That is big. When Hawaii plays at home, them forcing turnovers is pretty big. So you want to force turnovers if you're Hawaii, and you want to take momentum early. Now I say that because this is technically a home game for the Rainbow Warriors. It will be played at their home stadium, so this is technically a home game. And y'all know how I feel about betting against Hawaii. But those who know me also know I am stubborn. Give me the Cal Golden Bears, even though they will be without head coach Justin Wilcox, to win this ball game. I just think, I mean, JKS, he's from Hawaii too now. He's a guy. So this is more of a homecoming for him as it is Michael Alejado. I do think Cal is able to establish the run with Kendrick Raphael. The defense will be a little suspect. It will be tough. Also, I think Hezekiah Masses is questionable to play as well. He's in the portal. So that may hurt the secondary of Cal. But ultimately, I do think Cal has the offense to keep up with the Rainbow Warriors. So give me Cal as dogs to win this matchup against Hawaii. Next, we'll move on to the Game Above Sports Bowl Friday. 1 o'clock on ESPN, we have Central Michigan versus the Northwestern Wildcats. Northwestern comes into this matchup as 10.5-point favorites. Central Michigan was a team that was in contention for the MAC conference. Ultimately, did not make the championship game. Northwestern had a pretty good year in the Big Ten, solid defensively. They're still 10.5-point favorites, by the way. But for Central Michigan, you want to pressure Preston Stone, man. Put some pressure on him. He has 12 interceptions on the year. Maybe give you one. Speaking of 12 interceptions, never mind. That was the one. Never mind. Get the ball to Langston Lewis, the top receiver. He's going to be big against this Northwestern defense. You got to find ways to get him the ball. Stay ahead of the chains. That's going to be huge. Again, going against this Northwestern defense who can get after your quarterback. They're just really good defensively. Stop the run. Caleb Komalafe is said by Coach Braun to be back for the bowl game this Friday, which is huge. And they got to win the field position battle, man. They got to make this a low-scoring game and win the field position battle. So for Northwestern, establish Caleb Komalafe, again, who should be back. Tough runner. He gets hard-nosed yards. He's going to be perfect for a game like this. Put Central Michigan behind the chains. Central Michigan is not really that good at passing the ball. They haven't been for quite some time. Get the ball to Griffin Wilday, your top receiver. Protect the football. Again, Stone has 12 interceptions. And score first. Now, the reason why I put score first is because if they score first, they allow that defense to get after the quarterback and just play fast and loose. It can get ugly for Central Michigan. And my winner is Northwestern. Why? Because Central Michigan isn't that great throwing the football. I think Northwestern's defense is going to sink their teeth into this Central Michigan offense. And I can see this game getting kind of ugly. Central Michigan is not a bad team, but I think this is just a bad matchup going against the Northwestern defense as good as this. With a run game that's really good, I think Northwestern can just play black and blue football, eat the clock, score points, and just suffocate them on defense. So give me Northwestern in this matchup. We move on to the Rate Bowl Friday, where we have another Big Ten team playing. We have New Mexico versus the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now Minnesota comes into this matchup as 2.5-point favorites. Guys like Lemeke Brockington may be out due to opting out. Well, Lemeke is going to the draft. Darius Taylor may be out. He may be going to the draft. So Minnesota got some pieces out. New Mexico was a really good Mountain West Conference team. We tied for the top number one seed of the conference. Ultimately, through tiebreakers, did not make the conference championship game. But a turnaround of a season it was for New Mexico. Pretty good Mountain West team. But for New Mexico, they got to get the ball to Keegan Johnson, who's almost at 1,000 yards of the year, had a great season to transfer from Kansas State. Pressure Drake Lindsey. When we see Drake Lindsey under pressure, we see games like the Iowa game where it becomes a blowout. He's prone to making mistakes. He is a freshman. So pressure Drake Lindsey. Protect the football. Jack Lang has 9 interceptions, and you can't give this Minnesota defense any momentum, or you just can't give this Minnesota team in bowl games any momentum. stay ahead of the chains, especially against this tough, hard-nosed Minnesota defense, and establish the run. I mean, and get off the field on third downs, which I feel like can be an issue at times for the New Mexico defense. Now, it was more of an issue earlier in the year than later in the year, but it can be an issue nonetheless. Minnesota established the run, whether that's Darius Taylor, whether it's somebody else. They got to establish the run. Plus, I mean, Darius Taylor's been in and out the lineup all year, so it's not like it's nothing that they haven't been used to. You want to force turnovers if you're Minnesota, again, getting that momentum. Get the ball to Javon Tracy. Again, Lameke Brockington is out. He's declared for the NFL draft, so good luck to him on his draft process. Force third and longs to allow that Minnesota defense to go after Jack Lane and pressure Jack Lane. And my winner, I'm going with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. First of all, PJ Fleck is 6-0 in bowl games, which is big. Secondly, I just think this defense is just too good for this New Mexico offense. I think that Jack Lane's going to have a lot of issues in this game. I think Jack Lane may throw a pick or two. I think he's going to be on the ground maybe 3-4 times sacked. I just think this Minnesota defense, man, is really good, and I think it's going to very much so affect this New Mexico offense. And I think offensively for Minnesota, they'll be able to establish the run game. Drake Lindsey has a pretty decent game. I think he's going to have actually a really good game. So give me the Minnesota Golden Gophers to stay undefeated in bowl season with PJ Fleck. And the last bowl game we have to talk about is the First Responder Bowl Friday at night. We got FIU versus UTSA, which this game was kind of hard to call, and I'll explain why later. But this game is 8 o'clock Friday on ESPN. UTSA are still 6.5-point favorites, I want to say. No, they actually moved down to 5.5-point favorites, so let me change that. I don't know why my other banner keeps going off. I'm not hitting it. Let me see if there's a timer on it. I don't think so, though. But live on air, it was 6.5 literally. Oh, it is on. The timer's on for some reason. I don't know why. But live, it was 6.5 before it went live, and now it changed to 5.5. So again, odds are changing. So if you like a team, you like where the number is, you feel like it may drop or it may go up, take it before it's too late. Now, for FIU, they will be having Keon Owens. I did not see him on any injury report or anything like that. And FIU wants to establish Keon Owens, establish him on the ground. Also, they did say, Coach Simmons did say that Keon Jenkins and the backup quarterback should be available for the bowl game. He even jokes in that we might have a wrinkle and start both of them. But he said if the bowl game was December 17th, Jenkins wouldn't be ready to go. But since it's this Friday coming up, Jenkins should be all go. So FIU got to protect Keon Jenkins. He does have a groin injury. I don't know how much that's going to affect him running the ball. The way Simmons sounds like he'll be good to go to even do that. But you want to protect him just in case. You want to pressure Owen McCown, get Alex Perry the ball, and get off the field on third downs. Now, if you are UTSA, you want to run Robert Henry Jr., contain Keon Jenkins, even though they say he's good. You still want to contain him. Get the ball to Devin McEwen and David Amador. Stop Keon Owens, which really should be object number one. He is the heart and soul of that offense. And score. If UTSA is running up the score, I think it's tough for FIU to match that, especially against the UTSA defense. Even though UTSA will be without starting corner KK Meyer, they will be without a lot of guys. Jeff Traylor did come out and say that he was basically complaining about, I don't know if it was tampering, but it sounded like tampering about agents telling guys that they should sit out, hit the transfer portal, they might go other places. He was saying he might be losing up to 10 to 20 guys due to the portal. Now, they're not all been announced. That's later to be seen, but he was complaining about the portal and guys, agents, and stuff like that. So for the moment, it's some guys that's been out or possibly being ruled out, but there may be more down the line. But I'm still ultimately going for the moment as is. I'm going with UTSA. I just think UTSA offense, a lot of guys so far offensively are going to be there. And that's the case with Robert Henry breaking all those long runs and Owen McCown and these weapons they got on the outside. I think there'll be a little too much for this FIU team to handle. I do think FIU can get stuff going, especially with the defense being a little shorthanded due to potential opt-outs and stuff like that. But ultimately, I think it's tough for this FIU team to keep up with this UTSA offense. So give me UTSA to win this game on Friday night. And that's all the bowl games I have to go over with y'all today. Like I said, I'll be back Saturday morning to discuss, I believe it's 7 bowl games Saturday. So we got a fun-filled Saturday of bowl games to go with this weekday slate. Now, like I said earlier, this is a network. So we have shows on the network. We have the R2L main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave every Tuesday and Friday between 7 to 8:30ish. We got Unfazed currently doing multiple days at the moment, different days at the moment due to work schedules and stuff like that. But when they do go live, it's normally at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, featuring Joe and AJ yet again. We have BWT Baseball with Teddy, so stay tuned for whenever Teddy drops episodes. We have FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. Tonight is the last night for Week 16. Some people's championships will be determined today. Some people's championship game will be determined today, meaning that they will establish who's fighting for the championship. We have Dave's Doghouse, highlights and lowlights of sport. We have RBO Real Ballers only featuring Vaughn, which my Pistons played the Trailblazers tonight at 10. So let's go Pistons. And we have Indie Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo every Sunday. Not every Sunday, excuse me. They go live on Sunday, excuse me. Not every Sunday, but when they do go live, it is on Sundays between 6:30, 7 o'clock. Boxing episodes for all your boxing news, recaps, stuff like that. Stay tuned to In the Red Corner. And yeah, we got 8 bowl games during the weekday to enjoy. I'm about to go get some food so I can enjoy this bowl game today. Like I said, I'm going. I got Utah State in this Idaho Potato Bowl. So y'all enjoy the bowl games today. Enjoy Monday Night Football, whatever you like to enjoy. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. But I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.